Breaking story as we speak. The FDA and the CDC has announced that they are now recommending a pause in the use of Johnson & Johnson's vaccine. The move, both agencies saying, is being taken out of an abundance of caution as health officials are investigating safety issues with that shot. We want to get right to NBC's medical contributor, Dr. Natalie Azar, who joins us now. I have to say, this is a pretty stunning development. We're in the midst of a mass vaccination campaign using, among others, this Johnson & Johnson single-dose shot, and now for the FDA to pause it because of potential health concerns. What do you make of it? What have you read in this announcement?
Well, Savannah, certainly I don't think I can overstate how serious this development is. You know, we've been following now for a couple of weeks the story from the UK and the concern about these rare clotting events associated with the AstraZeneca vaccine. And we just started hearing reports that a similar situation could be occurring here in the US, Savannah, with the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. And I think it's important to point out a couple of things. One, these are not the typical blood clots that we usually think of in the leg, for example. Those occur, you know, really with a frequency of hundreds of thousands per year, but rather these are rarer events. They're termed something called a cerebral venous thrombosis. That's a blood clot in the veins of the brain that are thought to be perhaps triggered by an immune reaction. That's why we're seeing this predominantly in younger women. It can also be associated with a drop in the platelet count. It's so important to point out, Savannah, I really want to reinforce this, that these are very, very rare events, clearly. And we do see, unfortunately, that sometimes this can happen outside of or after the clinical trial. Remember, the clinical trial enrolls, you know, tens of thousands of participants. Now we're vaccinating millions of people, and unfortunately, sometimes these rarer events can emerge.
Okay, this is the brother Lamadia, giving all praises and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem Vakar Kadash, giving double honors to the eldest apostles of Great Millstone. And like always, blessings to the believers of Yahweh Shah. This video will be entitled GMS Had Warned You. And going back a couple of months ago, the topic of discussion was, should you take the injection? And you had Nate from the IUIC pretty much was saying it's okay to pretty much to take it, and that we are conspiracy theorists. Same thing with General Toso Chicken, I like to call him, from the ISUPK. And he had pretty much the same stance and said, you'll be a fool if you don't take, you know, the injection. And said the same thing about conspiracy theories, and that ISUPK, and they're not afraid. Well, we told you, don't trust this devil, okay? And not to put that, you know, poison into your body. So now, as far as what's going on with this news, there's been a pause from the FDA until further investigation of Johnson & Johnson. And at the same time, they're telling you, well, these cases of women at certain ages that's developing blood clots is a very, very rare case. Well, so rare that they had to put a stop to it, right? Now, if that's the case, how come there was never a stop put on the flu injection? Because with all injections or daggers, there's always side effects. But I just go to show you, with the Johnson & Johnson, it's a lot more than what they're telling the people. Now let's read Isaiah 56, beginning at verse 10. His watchmen are blind. They are all ignorant. They are all dumb dogs. Now let's go back and break down a couple of things. Now, the watchman is referencing toward the men that saying they have the truth and proclaiming themselves to be the teachers of the Most High. And the Lord saying they blind, meaning they can't see. They spiritually can't see. And it says they are all ignorant. Now, the word ignorant means not to know. Because a lot of these guys, they like to wing the scriptures. And when you listen to these guys' videos, they only know the basics of the scriptures. You know, such as Deuteronomy 28 chapter and the color scriptures. And outside of that, they can't break down nothing else. That's why you don't see them going to prophecy. Because they're ignorant. And it says they are all dumb dogs. They cannot bark. Now, dogs are known to raise awareness. If you have a dog and somebody come near to your door, your dog would raise awareness by barking, which is comparing it to the job of a prophet, because that's what we're doing. We raising awareness by barking the scriptures. And it says sleeping, lying down, loving to slumber. Yea, they are greedy dogs which can never have enough. And they are shepherds that cannot understand. They all look to their own way, every one for his gain from his quarter. Because what these guys, what we finding out, these guys just have interior motives. And they don't have the flock best interest. And a lot of them only want a large congregation so that way they can make money off of them and have them send in tithes and donations so they can live good. And that's all they care about. So now let's move forward to Ecclesiasticus chapter 12, beginning at verse 10. And it says, never trust thy enemy. Now, who's our enemy? Our enemy is beginning with the so-called white man down to the other nations. So the Lord said not to trust them. And how can you trust a person that brought you people into this country as slaves, that has been oppressing you, gunning you down in the streets? You know, not giving you a fair share in the court system, legally robbing you. How can you trust that man? But our people, they have this loving, toxic love for the so-called white man. No matter how much you do, they find room for forgiveness. They make room for forgiveness for them. But when it comes to their own, they hold resentment. And they can never let go that anger. But when the so-called white men do something, they found room for forgiveness. Now it says, never trust thy enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And that's what the white man do. He's going to play humble. He's going to lie about things. He's going to tell you, go ahead, take the injection. It's not going to do you no harm. And guess what our people are going to do? They're going to go run into it, believing in him. And then when the facts come out, Esau will just say, well, The symptoms are very, very rare. And guess what? A lot of our people still going to take it. So it says, though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust have not been altogether wiped away. Set him not by thee, lest when he have overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place. Neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat. And thou at the last remember my words, and be pricked therewith. Who will pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent? Now that's the question. It's asking, who will pity a charmer that is bitten by a serpent? Because if you playing with a snake and you get bit, who's gonna have pity on you? Who's gonna have compassion? And that's what our people doing with this devil. You wanna hang out with them, go out to drink after work, in the bar. George says, who will pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent, or any such as come nigh with wild beasts? So one that goeth to a sinner is defiled with him and his sins, who will pity. And that's why when Esau wipe a lot of, our people out, that ain't right. You're not going to feel sorry for you. Because you got what you requested. You got what you asked for. So, let's close with Proverbs 14. The simple believeth every word, but the prudent man, a person that is wise. So it says, but the prudent man look well to his goings. Because a person that is prudent, he calculates his steps. Alright, whereas a person that's a fool, which is simple, they believe everything that the media say, everything that the so-called white man say, all these different camps say. And no matter how much it don't make sense, they'll still believe it. But it says, the prudent man look well into his goings. Because a prudent man gonna look into logic and gonna look into the scriptures and see what lines up with prophecies. So I'm gonna close with that, and I'm gonna say all praises and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua, by Hashem Rakakwadash. Shalom.